there is a reason parliamentary elections terminate in the constituencies and in the training of our 153,000 polling agents and our coalition agents. We made it very clear to them that do not expect that if you entertain lapses at the level of the polling station or at the constituency level, it can be remedied in Accra. Because per the law, the moment the returning officer for the parliamentary election declares, that is it. Recall in 2020, when we had a similar situation in Techiman South, even when people had died, Madame Mensah hardened her heart and said, once a returning officer had declared, the only way to recollect or recount would be to go to court. I'm not surprised. She's adopting the approach of opacity, said that she will not even open herself up for critical questions, said that even after we have written for an IPAC meeting to be convened, she's dodging an IPAC meeting. So I state here and now that Madame Mensah or any future chairperson of the Electoral Commission, unless the law is changed, is not the returning officer of parliamentary elections. Having said this, what it means is that when a returning officer declares, you have no other option but to accept it. And that was the doctrine Mensah advocated in 2020. What was good yesterday must be good today, unless we have a reason to believe. Unless we have a reason to believe that that was wrong. And if that was wrong, Madame Mensah should let us know. If she made a mistake in 2020, she should let us know. So I submit once again that Mensah is not the returning officer for parliamentary elections. Therefore, she cannot make herself a revisionist to be revising what returning officers have already declared. That is illegal, that is unacceptable, and we assure her that if she tries it, she will face the full rigors of the law from January 7th, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is sworn into office.
So, as far as you're concerned, the elections in these constituencies have been concluded and declared?
Apart from the ones that have not been declared. And so, if you take a place like Techiman South, it's been declared.
Okay.
If you take a place like Santiago North, it's been declared. And it was declared by the returning officer. And guess what? After a returning officer declares, then Mensah arrogates into herself the power to call people to come and recollect in Tesano. Can you imagine this? That after results have been declared, Mensah invites people to come and recollect.
Hello, Doc. Okay, that's Dr. Eduardo Boamah. But two things he said. He said Madame Mensah does not have the, first of all, says they don't have the intellectual capacity or power to determine dress. And secondly, she has no role by CI 127. she has absolutely no role in how constituency results are collated and declared. So once they have been declared, that's the end of it. And except for the few constituencies that have not been declared. Doc, I think you were on Fantiakwa North.
Yes, very sorry. I was buying expensive petrol at the filling station, so I think the line went off. Very, very sorry.
Expensive petrol.
Yes, expensive petrol. It's been very expensive. I mean, the price of a liter of petrol today, okay, give you 1 gallon under President Mahama in 2016. I'm right at the filling station. The price of a liter today could give you 1 gallon under President Mahama. Back to Fantiakwa North. My brother, it was a returning officer who declared Honorable Apan Redu the member of parliament. Do you know what happened at Aikesano? They went and brought somebody who calls himself a deputy returning officer, or a deputy returning officer to declare. Once again, that is illegal. CI 127 doesn't clothe a deputy returning officer with the powers to declare. The question should be, why did the Criminal Electoral Commission elect to bring a deputy returning officer to come and declare the results instead of the designated returning officer? And in any case, the recollation of Fantiakwa North was a non-starter. I moved to Techiman South. Here again, they have no basis to recollate Techiman South because it was a returning officer who declared it. Ahafano Southwest, both of them, the best solution, we have already suggested it to them because of what happened. The Electoral Commission cannot find their pink sheets. And so, if they call for an IPAC meeting, we will all discuss, door, and come to an amicable solution. For very good reasons, I put out the solution. But we want the 2 seats.
You want the 2 seats, but the EC cannot find their own records, their own pink sheets.
Very good. They cannot. Because of what happened. You cannot blame the EC because of the circumstances. And we state here now that we are not going to rely on photocopies, scanned copies of any pink sheet. No way. And this is because pink sheets were floating around on December 7th, left, right, and center.
No photocopies, no scanned copies.
No photocopies, no scanned copies. No way.
But do you have your own records, the one that the duplicates that were given to you by the Electoral Commission?
I have alluded to the circumstances on the ground. Certain things happen on the ground, including disruptions. Again, I moved to a place like Boamah. When the declaration was done, did you hear the MPP parliamentary candidates even request for recollation?
No.
Why is an afterthought pushing the Criminal Electoral Commission by Mensah to be calling for recollation? Why is it that when the MPP asks her to jump, she doesn't ask them why she should jump, but rather she asks, how high must I jump? You come to Tama Central, a bright place. It was a returning officer who declared. Okay, the returning officer declares, And then they want to allude to all kinds of things. Watch the video. You will not find any duress. And these are the reasons we need to sit and have a discussion so that as law-abiding citizens, we can all join and come to amicable solutions for each and every one of them. Because even though the final outcome is to have parliamentarians for these constituencies, the underlying problems vary, and each of them can be taken based on the details of the problems. And let a broad brush be used to sweep recoalition. I state again, Madam Jem Mensah should not confuse her role as a returning officer of the presidential elections with the role of the returning officer for parliamentary elections. The two are different. The two are completely different. Completely different. You are the returning officer for presidential. That is the reason a returning officer in a constituency cannot declare the presidential. Same way, the returning officer for presidential cannot arrogate to herself the power to be declaring parliamentarians when they are elected. The power she has is to communicate what the returning officers have declared to Parliament. And if people have problems with it, they should go to court. And I ask again, why is Jem Mensah being so lawless and partial? This is an electoral commission that when we were having our presidential primaries, if you recall, the moment one of the NDC aspirants served the commission with a process, the commission said they could not proceed with our election. If you recall.
Yes.
They could not proceed with our election. Was it because it was going to affect NDC adversely? In this contest, you've been served with a proceedings, and you are proceeding to collate. What kind of lawlessness is that? You're not going to tolerate it. We are not going to tolerate this. And that is why I turned the press conference as a useless press conference. And on top of that, I think that journalists must begin to boycott her press conferences if she will just come and talk at them without allowing them to interrogate the issues that she puts out. She can issue a press release. If you are not interested in taking questions, don't invite journalists to come and sit before them. In any case, she has too many questions to answer. Look, till date, we don't even know who stole those ballot papers or ballot papers that led to the reprinting of the entire Western and Eastern region ballot papers. One of the conspiracy theories is that it was a deliberate ploy to allow the NPP to be able to steal some of those ballot papers, go and hide them so they could use them for ballot stuffing. Hopefully, we take over the reins of governance very soon, and we shall thoroughly investigate what led to that massive financial loss to the state. What is an outstanding issue? Another outstanding issue, the theft of biometric voter registration equipment at the headquarters of the Election Commission. under CCTV surveillance, under military and police surveillance, all 24 hours, remains unresolved. It is the vigilance of the rank and file of our party, the hard work, and the grace of God that gave us that massive margin in the presidential elections. Your guess is as good as mine if we even won with 51%. This criminal electoral commission, based on their conduct in the parliamentary, would have striven to overturn the result in favor of the incompetent, crooked, and criminal MPP administration. We thank God for that massive margin. Of course, I had predicted it as far back as September, March, thereabouts. You can check the record. I predicted 57.3. Just imagine if the margin was just 1%, or it was like 2008, where God blessed the nation with Dr. Kojo Afarijan, an impartial chairman of the Electoral Commission. Just imagine if this margin was like the 2008 one. What would have this criminal Electoral Commission done? They would have overturned it. Their time is up. Their sins are too many. And if you want to understand how many their sins are, examine the fact that they walk with soldiers following them. Why do they need soldiers to follow them? For my entire 8 years as deputy minister and minister, I did not even have a policeman following me. What is it that they have done that makes them afraid of their shadows? That soldiers guard them. What is it that they have done? And so are we surprised that our elections got militarized? If the chairperson of the Electoral Commission is being chaperoned by soldiers, doesn't it give them motivation to make incursions into our elections? Let me commend the Inspector General of Police and the Chief of Defense Staff for resisting illegal orders from the Flagstaff House that has ensured the relative peace and stability that we are enjoying today. Let me commend the US and the UK governments for their constant interventions behind the scenes. That has also ensured the relative stability that we are experiencing today. At the right time, when we speak about the behind the scenes occurrences and moves, people will come to appreciate that this Akufo-Addo-Boamah government was only a despotic government. And let me also add that Boamah also did well by listening to reason from certain actors. I won't mention the name of those actors, and going ahead with the concession. Because obviously, even though their coalition demonstrated to them at 3 a.m. that they had lost, it was clear if they were following us that by 7:30 p.m. or 9:30 p.m., the lead was unassailable. But he still did well by not listening to the hawks and step forward. But the Electoral Commission must understand that the game is over for them. They cannot continue to supervise the impunity that we have dealt with over the past 4 years. And I would say, if you extend it to pre-2020 elections, then that is like over the past 7 years. They cannot, and they must repent. They must repent. They have a court process set on them. They should apply their own conduct, which is when they are set a court process, they do not proceed. Wasn't it the reason why they were trying to get a Memphis Central parliamentary candidate not to contest? So why does this Electoral Commission want to reprobate and approbate? I repeat, Madame Mensah is not a returning officer for parliamentary elections. According to CI 127, she's only the returning officer for presidential elections.
But she also draws attention to the fact that the report she has been giving is that these particular constituencies in question, their results were incomplete. In some cases, 31 as against 62 polling stations declared and a winner called. In this kind of circumstance, Doc, you appreciate that then something needs to be done to ensure that the declaration is complete.
So if that is the case, and if we are to sustain that argument just for the purposes of this discussion, why is she talking about recoalition in Boamah when she knows very well that because of the pandemonium that occurred, some pink sheet cannot be found? If she wants every pink sheet to be accounted for, why is she not stating that there should be a rerun? You understand? So, dig deeper into what she's saying. Listen to her carefully, and you will realize that she's not sincere about her submissions. You want to say that some polling stations have not been accounted for. But you know very well that in some of the constituencies that you are trumpeting recoalition, because of the circumstances, genuinely the Electoral Commission doesn't have the pink sheet. Is she telling Ghanaians that she's unaware?
You say you have requested for an IPAC meeting. That has not been granted.
No. The IPAC meeting has not been granted.
Is that intended to look at all these constituencies, or yours is limited to only Ahafo North and Ahafo Southwest?
It was to look at all these 12 constituencies that they have started with. And that includes Santiago North, which they have illegally recollated and have illegally used somebody who doesn't have the powers to declare parliamentary election results. To declare. It will not be accepted. It will not be sustained. And the NPP and Mensah should listen to us carefully.
Doc, what's the best way out of this?
The best way out, I've alluded to that already. They should revisit our letter for the IPAC meeting. Let us all sit. Let us examine each of the 12 constituencies on case-by-case basis. They are not 9. They think they have resolved 3. They have not. They are not 9. They are 12. Let's sit on case-by-case basis. Let's all come to the table with sincerity and address the issue. She should stop allowing the NPP to be pushing her around. Too late for them.
The 3 constituencies that they are leaving out are?
Sorry?
Which 3 constituencies are they leaving out?
Santiago North, Akwetia.
Okay.
Recall that illegality that took place at the Kesano police station, which actually the Electoral Commission had lied to the Ghana Police Service. That was how come the Ghana Police Service allowed for their premises to be used. They had lied to them that they had discussed with us, and we had all agreed. They had lied to them. Ask yourself, how come subsequently the police told them they could not provide the necessary cover that they needed for the illegality that they were going to perpetrate? So please, Ghanaians, we have a criminal electoral commission on our hands.
But, Doc, to call somebody criminal, you must have some level of evidence of their criminality. How have they acted criminally?
Sana, their criminality did not begin today. The theft of biometric voter registration equipment, okay, against their criminality. And if you are worried about that, note that their first IPAC meeting, when they opened it to the media, when I described them with criminal, they could not rebut it. Recall. Recall. Right in their presence, all of them. When I described them with the word criminal, they could not rebut it. And let me add that the Electoral Commission is a crime scene. It is a crime scene. And they are not reading the mood of the nation. They are not. They are not reading the mood of the nation. They should read the mood of the nation and appreciate that power is changing hands.
Doc, Kojo Eric, who is watching us on Facebook, says I should ask you, what about Damongo?
Damongo is not before us at the moment. If any issues arise, we will deal with it.
Okay. Doc, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us this morning. Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's Dr. OMANE, who is Director of Elections and IT of the National Democratic Congress, speaking to us on this whole issue. Now, he's added Suhum, Akwetia, Fantia, Kwa North, said they are included. They understand that there are issues with the declarations. In fact, they're saying most of this have been declared at the constituency level. But they also understand that the circumstances under which the declarations were made and the fact that the EC lost most of their pink sheets raises issues that need to be settled. But Dr. Boamah says that's why we've written to you, the Electoral Commission, telling you, call